All right, let me make sure that it's actually recording before we continue. All right, yes, we are a go. This is episode 7 of the Moonwalkers Chat podcast with just Mr. P and Dove Angel D. What's going on, everybody? Hope all is well with everybody. It's 6 of you guys here so far. What's going on, Yvette, Maria, MD Love? What's going on, everybody? Dove, you still here with me?
I'm here. How's everyone doing?
Hope all is well with everybody. It is Saturday, or what? Wait, no, actually it's Sunday. I'm bugging.
No, it's Sunday.
Already messing up. Sunday. It is Sunday. God, what year or what day am I in? Oh, man. But what's going on, everybody? What's going on, Tamara? So we have a interesting podcast for you guys today. Now, to start off, Drake came out with a recent song, the 2C Slide, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about it. How many of you guys have actually heard about this song that Drake had come out with recently? Let me see. Well, recently with this song, he refers to MJ multiple times, especially MJ's moonwalk dance move. He refers to MJ's Billie Jean jacket, the sequin jacket, as everybody knows it as. And he also refers to MJ's red zipper jacket. Now, if you guys remember correctly, and Dove, you remember this too, because you're an MJ fan, you're a Moonwalker just like I am, and just like they are. Last year, when Leaving Neverland came out, he was touring, and he removed his song that he did with MJ off of his playlist and off of his tour. It just really has me bugged out. Now he's trying to revert back to using Michael's name or anything related to Michael to try to win the Michael fans over. But unfortunately, it is not gonna work.
Not gonna happen.
Like, it is not gonna happen. What pisses me off most of all is he fell into the bandwagon with everybody else who didn't do any research, or anyone who doesn't know Michael Jackson well enough to know that he wouldn't hurt anyone. And he just went with the masses and what the media was saying regarding the Leaving Neverland issue. And instead of him doing his own research, he decided to pull back and pull MJ's song off of Spotify and stop performing MJ's song on his tour.
Right. And now he wants to backtrack everything.
He can't, though. It's too late.
Too late. It's already all over the place. Everybody knows it.
And the crazy part is, I was a Drake fan. Like, when he did his Views album back in 2016. He did the song One Dance, all of that stuff that he did on that album, I actually liked. That was the one time I actually can say I was really feeling Drake's music. And after that, I mean, I can't say I really listened to him much after that album. But of course, because he did a song with MJ in 2018, I had to listen. He did that song, it was called Doesn't Matter to Me. That song was pretty cool. I listened to it, I liked it. But, of course, once Leaving Neverland rolled in, Drake fell right in line with the rest of the idiots who are against Michael Jackson.
He should have known better. I mean, he's been in the industry for a while, and he should have known. You know, everybody knows about MJ, and if you're an MJ fan like he claims that he is, he should have acknowledged that, just the way, you know, Chris Brown has been doing. He stepped up. He was like, no, when the whole 50 Cent thing happened, he was like, you're not going to do that to me. You're not going to drag me in your BS or whatever you think of him, you know? He should have done the same thing. But, you know, it's whatever. Now he wants to backtrack and it's too late.
Well, I see through his BS. And in the long run, it's not going to work where you think because you throw a couple of MJ references on a track that the MJ fans are going to come running back to you after what they know you pulled during 2019 against him. So I'm not speaking personally against him, but professionally and as a fan, I wouldn't support your music anymore. Because now you're a media puppet just like the rest of them.
Yeah. Maybe he thinks it's going to help his career or something. I don't know. Maybe he found out about, I don't know, maybe he followed the hoax or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Nothing wrong with
and he
that.
probably, I don't know. Maybe he thinks, oh, hold on. What if MJ really is alive and he actually can help me? Or his fandom can help me?
Well, he's getting help right now. Because he's like, oh my god, MJ fans are talking about me. VG says he is literally a dragon. That's even worse than a snake. Oh, man.
He spit fire.
Seriously.
And not in a good way.
S. Marie says he's just another person trying to use MJ's name and fans. I agree. Teresa says I don't like him. I liked him at one time, but he lost my respect with falling in line with this crap that he pulled. I mean, I can't honestly agree with it. It's not right.
Well, I don't have anything against Drake, but he just went the wrong way.
He really did.
You know, as an artist in the industry, you shouldn't mess with MJ or with his fans, you know. Everybody knows that.
At all.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
It really is. Like, MJ's fandom does not play.
You know?
Says, who on earth is this Drake? Drake who? Wow. Seriously, I've never heard of Drake. Well, if you've never heard of Drake, maybe you might know him as an actor. He was on the TV show, the Canadian TV show called Degrassi. His name is Aubrey Graham. His stage name or his real name. Maybe that's why.
And he was
maybe
with Rihanna at
a
point, right? He was Rihanna's boyfriend or something?
It was rumored that they was messing around, but I mean, they denied the rumors. They denied it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will not forget those who turned on Michael and had negative things to say about him. See, the sucky,
Thank you, Esmery.
See, the sucky part is he didn't actually say anything negative. It was his actions that was negative. Him pulling the song from his tour and him pulling the song from his Spotify playlist showed that he agreed with them. And I'm saying them as in the jackasses, because I don't want to keep saying jackasses, but them. VG says he does that because Jackson is a big name, and if he does something stupid about Michael Jackson, he gets all the attention. I agree with you on that one. I definitely agree with you on that one. But recently, Dove, there was a video that I discussed with you that I watched recently about MJ potentially being a germaphobe. And, you know, in this video, they were discussing MJ's first time wearing the surgical mask. That was a real interesting story. I mean, hearing it, it made me wonder, you know, all the different possibilities that they mentioned, are any of them actually true?
Probably not.
I mean, it's a possibility they are, but then they're not. But this photo here that shows MJ, of course, this is a pre-Bad era. This is 1986. the very first time that he's seen publicly wearing a surgical mask. Now, this surgical mask that day that he wore was one that was given to him by a dentist after he had a wisdom tooth removed. That's what the story goes. That's what the story is saying that I've heard. That he had left the dentist's office that day wearing that particular mask because he was afraid of his, mouth getting infected, being a singer, and of course breathing in all the germs. You know,
Yeah.
that could potentially irritate his vocal cords and his voice. That was one of
Yeah,
the
and it's
theories. That's crazy though.
yeah, it's not even bad to be a germaphobe. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. There are so many people around the world that are germaphobes that, and I don't mean nothing by this because you told us the other day that you always have your hand sanitizer on you and everything. But there are a lot of people that do that before they shake someone's hand or after they've met someone or whatever, they go and wash their hands or it's just something it's just something that people do. And since it's MJ we're talking about, it's always like this big major deal.
Exactly. Says it's hard to believe he was a germaphobe because when he visited third world countries, he did not wear a mask or gloves. And then there were times where he did visit where he did wear those masks and gloves. So it's kind of like it's back and forth. So it makes you wonder what's actually the truth. Was he a germaphobe? Wasn't he a germaphobe?
Yeah, but maybe it was on both sides. I think we talked about that before. What if he was worried about him giving germs to another person since he travels a lot and he doesn't know what he could have caught in a meeting with someone or maybe he was looking out for someone else, also for himself, of course.
Right.
So he was maybe, yeah, he was also considering other people's health. I mean, what's wrong with that? That's being considerate, I think.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, at all.
Another rumor that had come with this photo was that was the very first surgery that he had on his nose and also on his chin. We all know that MJ had surgery, there's no
All right.
denying that. But the story goes
Mm-hmm.
this is the first time that MJ actually had surgery. This is just before he actually showed himself publicly before the Bad album. And of course, his nose was a little different, and he had the cleft in his chin. They're saying that this particular time he had his nose done and he had his chin done. But when he had his nose done, of course, he lost all of his nasal hair. And the nasal hair actually protects you from breathing in certain pollen, lint, dust, germs, anything. And of course, once something hits the hair in your nose, it'll make you sneeze, forcing it back out.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
saying that he was wearing that mask that particular day because that was after a surgery that he didn't want to reveal to the public yet. That was another rumor.
Well, even if it is true, even if it's a true rumor, that would kind of make sense to me too. I mean, he's a performer. He was at the top of his career. It would make sense that he would look out for himself and after himself. I mean, and being that he had surgery on his mouth, he had his chin implant or whatever to have that dimple, or he changed his nose or whatever. He didn't want to reveal his nose before time. He wanted maybe to surprise people.
Could
Plus,
be.
he had the surgery, so maybe he was, a little bit insecure, or maybe he was worried that he would catch something, and he was touring. He was, you know, really stressed about going places, and that works against your immune system. So he had a lot of things to deal with. So
Absolutely.
even if it is true, I still don't. I still don't think that there's a major major reason to believe that's weird or something that you wouldn't think about when you're a big time celebrity or a big time entertainer like MJ was at that time.
And with this surgical mask, though, it came with many more rumors. Because even after the first usage of the surgical mask, the story also continued that MJ continued to use the surgical mask to aid him in getting around in public, which allowed him to use the doubles, which we know is a known fact already. That's. Wait, what does that say? Hi, Mr. P, please. I have observed that his children hardly go to the cemetery. Are they aware? Aware of what, Fahim? Yvette says, I all stand up for Michael Jackson and I will put people in their place that lie on him. Absolutely. Dove, you still here with us?
Yeah, and yeah, I'm listening. And I was gonna mention that he has been made fun of so many times about wearing the surgical mask. What are we doing now? We have talked about this before. What are we all doing now? The whole world is wearing a surgical mask.
Everybody is looking like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Chinese people have been doing it for ages because of the smog in China. Everybody knows that. Even when they go abroad, they use surgical masks for hygiene and for everything. But when MJ does it, it's different. All of a sudden, it's a big deal, or it's weird, or you know. And now with this whole coronavirus thing or COVID-19, let me put it in the proper way.
Yeah.
COVID-19. I don't want to sound like Cardi B, so
Coronavirus.
yeah, there you go. COVID-19. I mean, come on, every damn body, even kids are wearing surgical masks. I mean, it's just stupid. I'm sorry.
Remember, we had this conversation the other day. Every time I see people now, I think about Stranger in Moscow.
You mentioned that the other day.
Because it seems like lately here in New York, it's been raining a lot. And it just seems so sad seeing New York the way it is currently with everyone wearing surgical masks. And it just reminds me of the somber and sadness that, you could feel when watching the Stranger in Moscow video. Because if you look at all of the actors in that video, everyone was downtrodden and sad at some point in that video, between the homeless guy, the woman sitting at the table drinking the coffee, and then the children playing. Everyone just seemed very somber and sad, and that's the way it felt looking at everyone standing around wearing these masks. I thought, Stranger in Moscow. I don't know why, but that's where my head went when I see it. She said, I wore mine
That's
this
funny
morning.
though.
It is funny. I mean, not funny that, we have to wear it, but now it's funny that everyone has to wear something that Michael Jackson was made fun of for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I
We are
guarantee,
all wearing surgical masks
I
and
guarantee
gloves.
Dove, though, I guarantee Dove that even after this
What?
coronavirus passes, we'll still be seeing everyone wearing these masks and gloves.
For sure. Nothing is ever going to be the same again after this whole thing blows over. Ever. This, I don't know about you guys, but this has been a major wake up call for me.
For real.
I never ever thought about, the times we actually touch our faces a day when you're not even thinking about it, but everything you do has to do with touching your face or your nose or your eyes or whatever. You're always, touching on your body or something. And now it kind of woke me up like, oh my God. Or when you're trying to open your door or whatever, you you really don't realize the times that people actually have been there before you actually touch the handle of a door or something, or push the button of a elevator. And it makes you think how many germs they're actually on there.
You're right.
So this has been a wake-up call for sure for me.
Speaking of elevator germs, remember I told you about a video in China where the woman was spitting all over the elevator buttons?
Ew.
Yeah.
That's gross, though.
That was gross. I was like, are you kidding me? She was sitting there all over the elevator buttons, and then the next person got in and had no choice but to push the button to the floor that they needed to go to, and had to push her slimy spittle. It was just gross. I was just like, how could you do that? Because she was sick with the virus. That was just ugh.
I just call it my don't touch my face challenge. That's difficult, though.
It is. It really is. I can't help but touch this face. Look at this face. I can't help but touch it.
I know, right? I'm so cute. Let me touch my nose. Oh, I have such a cute nose.
I'm like, I want to touch my face. It's like, you look at your hand and you're like, if you touch your face with that hand, you're in danger. Don't you do it. Do not do it. Oh, man. That is too funny, though.
It really is. And you know, to come back on the this whole social distancing thing, even that is going to be a hard task to go back being as touchy-feely as we were before all of this. It's going to take a while before you actually feel safe to, you know, even hug someone, or, you know, to shake their hands, or even sit close to them, because now when you see someone on the streets, I really see it every single day when I go out, or when I go to the store or anything. When you cross each other, you just kind of like scooch over, like, I don't want you to touch me. Or they look at you like, ew, you're contagious or something. Like, everybody is looking at everybody sideways. It's really funny to see. Not funny, ha ha ha, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, man. You are so right about that, though, because I see it every day, especially when I'm out and I need to go out. Everyone is looking at each other like, oh my God, look at that big bag of germs standing in front of me. Like, they don't see a person anymore. They just see a big blob of germs. It's horrible.
Yeah, and we're lucky that this wasn't an airborne thing, because if it was, then we would be in real trouble.
Seriously.
Such a handsome face. Porgy? Is it Porgy? Porgy Town? Okay.
Oh,
I agree.
That's nice of you, Porgy. But there was something else that we wanted to talk to you about, a video that Dove and a friend of ours actually told us about, and it was actually really, 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 really good. But thank you, Poetic, for putting us on to this particular video. I mean,
yeah, I'm glad she insisted. I saw it on a tweet, and I saw the title. I was like, oh my God, do I really want to press that link? You know, it sounded like creepy and scary, and I just, you know, forgot about it and scrolled further like I didn't see it. But she kept on, you know, saying to me, you really need to check this out, because it is freaky, and it probably is scary, but you need to see this. And I'm actually glad that I did check it out.
Same here. But the name
Have you guys seen it?
The name of the video is 2020 The Hunters Become the Hunted. There's 2 parts to it.
I love it.
this is definitely a must-see, and I don't know if you guys have seen it as of yet, but if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Said that movie gave me chills. It
Yeah,
honestly,
it really does.
yeah, it just added more fear on to, what I felt about going into Hollywood, especially. Not even based upon what, they were researching how it tied to MJ and what, the industry does to the people within it. It's scary and it's disgusting and it's satanic. I mean, everything that they do is ritualistic of sorts. And it's been that way for a long time in old Hollywood.
Yep.
Pamela says it is very good. I follow her page. I love her. If it wasn't about Hollywood, it should have gotten an Oscar. Yeah, it was pretty good. I'll give her that.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've seen so many videos just like this, and it honestly always freaked me out because I'm like, I myself, when I was younger, wanted to get into Hollywood, and just learning what people had to do in order to boost their careers in Hollywood, like what they had mentioned in this video of the casting couch. Now that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
Having to give your body to someone for a movie role? Hell no. That is nasty. I would never.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. There's a lot of people that MJ said it. Anything for money, and it doesn't only apply to the Leaving Neverland stuff or all the other people that just wanted money out of him. It applies to everything. Some people would sell their souls to the devil to get that place or that spot or that little bit of fame, or and they don't even care if it's a loved one or even their own child. I mean, it's crazy. It goes from private people who are into satanic stuff to even big time organizations.
Like, it's
And
all
that's
out
scary.
there. Yeah, it's all out there, and it's just waiting, and we don't even realize that majority of the stuff that we watch are all marked with some sort of secret symbolism. Everything. There's not a thing out there that we
It's
watch
crazy.
that doesn't have symbolism.
And we don't even realize it most of the time. Well, I haven't realized it. And after I saw this video, I was like, oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? And it's right there, and you just don't see it. Because why you're not paying attention to what you're seeing? You're just looking at the bigger picture. But you need to see the small details as well.
What does that say? But how many of you actually was like me when you were younger and said that you wanted to get into Hollywood or get into acting or something like that? How many of you out there actually wanted to get into the music industry or the acting industry or anything like that? Because if you wanted to before, good thing you decided not to, because the music industry is completely evil, apparently. Like, Hollywood has so
Yeah.
much in store for people when it comes to how you get ahead. It's disgusting. And it goes against everything probably all of you believe. Whether you believe in God or not, it probably still goes against whatever you believe, because I'm pretty sure you don't believe in sacrificing children, drinking their blood, eating their flesh, or sacrificing your loved ones just so you can actually have a sacrifice on record for them to push your career ahead. It's disgusting. It's crazy.
Right, it's sick. It's sick, yeah.
I loved how every time they mentioned Weinstein, they showed him with Oprah. Oprah was always with Weinstein, though. That's the problem. So it's not like they were actually showing something that we don't know. It's crazy because Oprah was always a nutsack rider of Harvey Weinstein for a long time. Both her and her buddy Gail.
Yeah.
Scott says, how are you doing? Being cooped up, quarantined, doing your podcast live in your home. I might ask you, yep, we're working live from home, both of us. It's nothing like being home, though. I mean, this gave, everyone more time just to enjoy time at home, even though it's horrible that you're quarantined, stuck indoors. But it's nothing like being home sometimes. It may get boring,
No,
but I
that's
like
true.
it. I like it.
I like it too.
But of course, it'll be.
MD says, I wanted to be an actress when I was younger. I took vocal lessons, but life took me other places. I thank God. Yeah,
Oh,
indeed.
wow. Really? Oh, man, that's crazy. Like, when I was younger, I wanted to be on reality TV. And I also tried to become a musician with my brother and my cousin and her brother. We were a foursome, we were a group. And we wanted to make it so badly, but I'm glad we didn't because us being kids going into the music industry was like throwing us to the wolves.
Yeah.
There's no telling what could have happened with us or to us within the music industry itself. We don't know. Christy says, not
What
me.
did
I'm
you?
way too shy. And I've heard how satanic the industry is. I don't keep up with that stuff, but it doesn't surprise me. I think that is definitely the biggest tool the devil uses. Yep, I agree with you.
Yeah. How about you, Yvette? What did you want to do in the show business or in the Hollywood stuff? Did you want to be an actress or an actor or a singer? I always thought about Hollywood being, what they show us, the glitter and the glamour, and I just thought, oh wow, these people are so lucky to be famous, and maybe I'll be famous one day. When you're a small kid and you see all these great celebrities and these stars, and they get photographed everywhere, and they're asked their autographs and everything. It's like when you're a little kid, you're like, oh, this is so cool. And I didn't want to become a singer, but at a certain point, when I was a little bit younger, I tried to be a model. So I think that would include the same thing, I guess, to get up ahead in the being a model career or whatever.
That's true.
Probably they have to go through stuff like this as well.
They do.
Oh, a model? Really, Yvette? That's nice.
Take care, Teresa. Happy
Be
Easter. Right,
safe.
it is Easter today. I'm just realizing that. And this is
Wow.
also our 7th podcast as well.
Yeah, and we have 17 people. Oh, now it's 15. Okay.
But yep, we are at episode 7. I can't believe we've made it. But yeah, guys, smash the like button, hit the like button, show us some support, get our podcast moving. Show us you love us, show us you care, show us who's out there, show us who's there. We want to know. Like, we want to know. I'm being silly. But yeah, like, all of this stuff is honestly just a lot, though, when it comes to the world of Hollywood. You never know what to expect, especially from Hollywood itself, with all that's going on. Like, Corey Feldman was also mentioned within the documentary that they actually put out, that we watch, called The Hunters Become the Hunted. And they mentioned something in the documentary that actually was 100% correct about Corey Feldman, because he keeps putting himself out there on the front line as the face of, child abuse and child pedophilia, because, of course, him and Corey Haim, his best friend that he was friends with growing up in Hollywood, both experienced sexual trauma and sexual abuse together while in Hollywood. Every year, every interview, everything that he does where he gets his face out there, radio interviews, TV interviews, YouTube interviews, he'll mention that he wants to tell who's who in Hollywood, and all he does is ever mention Charlie Sheen or the basic people. He never mentions anyone behind the scenes who actually has committed any of these heinous acts. So I'm just wondering, what is Corey Feldman's agenda? And I'm not against him because I know he himself is a victim like I was. But unfortunately, he keeps saying that he's going to put out there who's doing what. And these people are still working behind the scenes in Hollywood. But the more time that he spends being silent, the more children that are potentially going to get hurt that enter the entertainment industry. So why hold back?
I don't know. Maybe he got a threat or something. Maybe he's scared.
I mean, it could be a possibility of both of those things because he was hit by a car before and someone did run up on him and stab him randomly out of nowhere. So he's thinking that it's because every time that he's mentioned that he wanted to release these names, something bad has happened to him. So there could be some truth to that, but I mean, stop showing fear and stop giving these people more power, because the more fear he shows them, the more power these elites have. Sometimes you have to be that person to strengthen themselves and eventually give yourself up for the cause if you really are in it to win it.
That's true, though. But I kind of do understand where he stands as to being afraid or being worried about his life or whatever.
I mean, it is a scary thing, though, because for him to have experienced 2 instances where he was hurt after doing interviews, you know, why am I going to trust releasing these names? But he keeps saying he's going to do it. So eventually, it's either you're going to have to give in, put up, or shut up about it. Because you can't keep giving the public the story and giving people who also like him were victims a story that he's never going to complete.
No. So he has to make a choice. Either you speak up or you shut up about it.
And that's not even in a disrespectful way, but just either give us the information in full or don't mention it to us anymore, because it makes no sense. We know that you were attacked. We know that you were molested in Hollywood, but who did it? Give us more insight as to what happened to you. Even with his latest documentary, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I posted it for others to watch. And from what I hear from other viewers who did watch, he didn't mention any names of anyone who could potentially be brought on charges or at least put on blast for what they've been doing the last 50, 60, 70 years probably in Hollywood. Because it stems back a long time.
Yeah, but even, what's her name? Roseanne? Is it Roseanne Barr?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's the one speaking up as well. And she's just, telling it like it is. She's not shutting up about it. She's, being truthful about it. So she's not worried about what's going to happen to her. She just puts it out there and even tells you to Google stuff if you don't understand what she's saying. So there are people speaking up about it, but just not enough.
And I feel bad for Roseanne because when she did eventually give back in to go into Hollywood, even after she spoke out against them, they set her up to fail. They set her up to fail. Because as she always has told us about the MK Ultra and the mind control things that are going on out there in Hollywood, eventually she ended up having that happen to her again, where she ended up saying some stuff that got her in trouble when they brought her back into Hollywood. And where she, again, she's in the outs. Because they brought back her sitcom. Yeah, they brought back her sitcom Roseanne after she decided to go back into Hollywood after speaking out against them. And as soon as she said one wrong move, boom, they killed her character off of her own show, renamed it, and got rid of her. She hasn't had an acting gig since.
Yeah. That's crazy, though.
It really is.
You have a message from Scott, Mr. Darrow.
Scott says, I love your videos, by the way. Love to watch them all, and very much enjoyable, educational, and informative too as well. Thank you for that, Scott. I appreciate that.
And he said before, I, Daryl Wood, had to yet again restart my device tablet because your live podcast went into buffering,
Oh,
continuously
Jesus, doing that
freezing in
again.
circles.
I don't know. YouTube does that to us from time to time, but I mean, we work through it somehow. I don't know what YouTube be up to, but we work through it. But thank you for your support, Scott. And I thank all of you guys who have supported us in our projects, the podcast, everything that we do week to week. It's much love and it's appreciated.
Yeah, it really is.
Exactly. Look what happened to Ron Newt. They were trying to offer him $250,000 to say that MJ molested one of his kids. They tried to get him to lie on MJ, and he did not go for it. Not only that, Ron Newt is also a distant cousin of Joe Jackson. He's like Joe Jackson's second or third cousin or something. They found out that they were related. So it's like, how do you turn on your own family? Because it's not even like they were just friends or business associates. Ron Newt and Joe Jackson were cousins.
Oh, wow.
They set Ron Newt up, and he died of mysterious circumstances, and still no one knows what he died of because I haven't seen his family post anything about his death since it happened. I just keep seeing conspiracy theories by fans, but we're not going to go into those. Thank you so
Hi,
much.
Bites. How are you doing? Charleston, SC. Welcome.
Nice. Charleston, South Carolina, like where that guy is from.
Mm.
I can't remember his name. Peter or something.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you for that thank you for that so kind message, Daryl. Christy says, oh wow, that is so scary to think about. I heard about that Ron guy too, definitely suspicious. Yup, he refused and he ended up dying, which is crazy.
Hey, Scott from South London, UK. Great Britain. God bless you. Well, God bless you as well, Scott. Or K. Scott, sorry.
Okay.
You guys are so lovely.
They really are, aren't they? Oh man, you guys are amazing.
Like Trunson would say, you all are so groovy.
Groovy guys, just awesome. You're amazing for joining us every week. We appreciate you guys joining the Moonwalkers Chat podcast. We love it. Oh man. But yeah, it's always a pleasure doing this every week for you guys. And it's a pleasure to have you guys actually be here with us and experience this journey of this podcast with us. So we thank you for tuning in with us every week. It's amazing to have you guys support us like this.
Yeah, it really is. It's really so cool that you guys stick with it and, deal with our crazy stuff sometimes.
I know, right?
Yeah, because there's a lot. There's really a lot.
It really is. But yeah, thank you guys for rocking out with us every week. We are going to get ready to wrap up this podcast. This was episode 7 of the Moonwalkers Chat podcast with just Mr. Pete and Dove Angel D.
And Dove Angel D.
Yes.
Every single time.
That's right. You know it. We love it. Thank you guys for rocking out with us every week. We really thank you for that.
You have any questions?
Pam says, I love being here. Well, we love having you here. Thank you. But nope, if you guys don't have any questions for us, then we're going to wrap up this podcast. And we will be seeing you guys for the next podcast. Much love to you all. This is just Mr. P and Dove Angel D. And this is the Moonwalkers Chat podcast. Much love, everybody. And we'll see you guys next time.
And happy Easter.
Happy Easter to ya. Happy Easter to ya. Happy Easter. No, they don't like that. It's okay. You don't have to like it.
They do like it.
Like,
See, you already
Easter.
have a fan. Yvette Colbert says, I will be your fan.
Thank you, Yvette. But all right, guys. We'll be seeing you for next podcast. Love you guys. See you next time.